I'm Emily Kornman. I know you are used to seeing Trinity, so I'm going to do my best to be Trinity today and lead this presentation. Eddie Ehrlich, our incredible occupational therapist, is going to present on a communication crash, being ready for tech failure. While we don't want it to happen, it almost always does happen. So something might go wrong with technology. It happened to me today, and we want you to be prepared for it. So, Eddie, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am Eddie, and I'm an occupational therapist and engineer, and I'm part of an amazing organization. Some members are here with us today. Bridging Voice is a not-for-profit dedicated to serving the ALS community, and we're about 7 years old. Our care team, though, those who work directly with PALS, started with just 2 people and now is 13 strong, 7 speech therapists, 2 OTs, 4 programmers, and engineers. We're very specialized. We're focused entirely on supporting PALs and their caregivers with communication, computer and phone access, and assistive technology at every stage of the ALS progression. Although we're only 7 years young, our combined assistive technology experience is very old. We're more than 250 years old. Since 2019, when Bridging Voice was founded, we have served more than 7,500 PALs in all 50 states. And although we do no outreach internationally, they have found us in those other countries. 54 countries have found us, PALs in 54 countries. Our services are always free. No matter your insurance status, your income, services are always free. We serve the ALS community. We serve people with ALS. This is a graphic of a typical progression for limb onset ALS. So if you find the number 1 in red, right, you can start clockwise. Can you see my pointer? Not a very good pointer at the moment. Um, and beginning with first symptoms and diagnosis, in limb onset ALS, the function in the hands will decline first. Um, Loss of reliable speech. Those people on this call who have ALS or caregivers, find yourself in this sequence, in this progression. Where are you? Where is your loved one? Right? In order to place yourself in this. In this progression. And we recognize, what do? We recognize that at each stage, there is technology to be inserted into every stage of the ALS progression to mitigate the effects of ALS. What we do is help you decide what technology you need and then help you implement that technology, use it effectively. um, Steve Gleason said around the time of our founding, at I think graduation at Tulane, he said, while there is no medical cure for ALS, technology can act as a cure. And Bridging Voice is expert in these technologies. These technologies have names, in these 5 or 6 areas of technology. If you start again from the purple in the progression, often the first thing that we do is either alternate access or voice preservation, communication app technology, speech generating device technology, what we have called integration and customization technologies, which is sometimes we call that the Bridging Voice special sauce technology. So this is something that is, I think, unique somewhat to Bridging Voice services, is the one in dark green, integration and customizations. At the top, is education and evaluation. Our support is entirely remote. We serve PALs across the US and quietly internationally, entirely remotely. We aim not to replicate any services. So if you are getting support for any of the needs of these technologies elsewhere, we recommend that you stay plugged in to that support and retain it. And we honor and encourage that, and we will complement whatever you're doing with others. But education and evaluation, I wanted to just take a moment to emphasize that we are always coming back to education and evaluation. People with ALS have lots of questions about their technology. What's going to help me right now? What might I expect in the future? What should I do first? What should I do next? Um, our services are one-to-one personal, and they're always, again, free of charge. So whether your interaction with a Bridging Voice professional is by email, a video session, a remote login, we are constantly doing ongoing reevaluation of your needs and the technology that you're using. How well is it working? And how can we make that a different technology that will work better, or making the existing technology work better? Hey, any New Yorkers with us today? A special welcome to you. New York State is our latest state to have an initiative. The New York State Initiative, like the other state initiatives in New Jersey, Maryland, am I forgetting a state? I hope not. um, tasks us with even stronger outreach to you. We are looking for every single person living with ALS in New York State at the moment. And to make that even more attractive, we commit to giving full support for voice preservation, voice banking, voice cloning, step-by-step support from the beginning through. And also, one of our special sauce um, innovations, full iOS mirroring support, including any hardware, like a hardware dongle that might be needed. We'll provide that for PALS in New York State. So welcome aboard, New York. Um, if you are not already a Bridging Voice client, you can also drop into the chat your contact information. That might be something for you to do to make an initial contact. But if you want to just reach out to bridgingvoice.org/New York, right, you can self-refer. Our referral process is usually through referral partners, other professionals and organizations. But when we have a state initiative, we ask that you can also self-refer. So right there, and I think Emily will drop that in the chat, bridgingvoice.org/New York. Today's topic, communication crash. As Emily correctly said, you're working with technology, sometimes it isn't going to work. Being ready for tech failure. What do you need to do in order to be ready for that, I would say, inevitability? First of all, what is a communication crash? So I'd like to define it for our purposes today in just 4 words. SGD output has stopped. Right? So just take this in for a moment. In a communication crash, SGD output has stopped. Let me decode this. So SGD, speech generating device, um, that's sometimes called an eye tracker, sometimes
Well,
called
I'm gonna empty the dishwasher, so I'll have you fill it.
sometimes the communication speech generating device is called an eye tracker, a speech machine, a talker. We've even had people call it eye glaze. So any device, it could even be a communication app, right? You have a device that is your communication connection, your communication lifeline, and the output, whatever the output is, what is seen on the screen, what is heard from the speakers, what is transmitted from the device like a text message, right, has stopped. There's either no output or significantly degraded output, or it may be just unavailable output. Sometimes the output has stopped because the input, like the cameras, for instance, are not working. That may be the reason
Test
why
number
the
one.
output
Call your first
does
friend if
not
you
work.
experience vision changes or heart racing at rest. Side
So let's also recognize that the um, communication crash is not just a technical occurrence. It's also an impactful and powerful experience, right? Communicate. Let's recognize the impact. Without a communication device, our PAL's communication becomes dependent on others. And so a communication crash can be very isolating, can no longer reach out. You have to wait to be reached out to. We can consider a communication crash an emergency. Without an independent means to communicate, our pals cannot initiate about a health emergency. So the crash itself is an emergency. And lastly, let's recognize that this communication crash experience, becoming dependent and nearly locked in, may be a reminder of the most terrifying aspect of the ALS experience. It's really the motivation for why to have this webinar, to discuss what to do in case of communication crash. PALS experience kind of a mini version of this communication crash anytime the speech generating device is not available. But usually when it's not available, it can and is restored quickly and easily. So when transferring to a bath chair, getting into a vehicle, when the device is simply updating or rebooting, while you might be in the emergency room when you just gotten to the hospital and the speech generating device hasn't caught up to you yet. During a prolonged power outage, when the battery life of the device goes out and you're now dependent on a non-functioning speech generating device. Remember that for our pals, those who use a speech generating device, there is often no other independent communication option. That's what makes this so harsh, so intense. So what do you do in the case of a communication crash? Let's go with a step-by-step approach. 1, put manual communication in place immediately. The immediate backup for an electronic system is a non-electronic system. We call this non-electronic system a manual board. Putting the manual board into use quickly also assures the pals that they are still connected and they're still being heard. The next thing, after you've reestablished communication with a manual system, then work on restoring the SGD to proper function. Get the SGD to work again or arrange for a replacement. All right, here I've have a little graphic of take out the manual board and tape it to the SGD stand, to the thing that usually holds your eye gaze. In other words, make it available, make it present. Is very reassuring that that's what you're going to use while the technology is being restored. So this manual communication board that we're talking about, what is it? A manual communication system is a partner-assisted system that requires just one single repeated gesture or signal from the pals. Every bit of manual communication is partner dependent. And remember that a manual communication board, this is an example of a letter board and a phrase board. It's not just for unexpected communication crashes, but for regular daily use whenever that speech generating device is not available or accessible. For instance, when it's moved away for ADLs, that's when you need your manual communication board. So it's really should be in practice, in use, and practically a daily or multiple times a day, so that when a communication crash happens, it's not a big surprise, and that's not when you need to learn it. You should learn to use it now. How do you get started with a manual communication board? Well, one way to do it is to go to our website, bridgingvoice.org/resources, and download the PDF of these letter and phrase boards. You can download, print one. You can make one with a ruler and a pen. You can download and print it. Or if you are a Bridging Voice client, you're unable to print, or you want a laminated version, we will mail you a set in either English or Spanish, or both. So everyone with ALS, everyone who has a speech generating device should also have a manual communication board set ready to go. And here's how you use it. It's worth reminding yourselves, and those people who have not seen this in use or have not put it in place, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a partner-assisted manual communication board. Two of our senior therapists, they've been with Bridging Voice for a while. That's the senior part. Annie and Trinity will demonstrate how to use a communication board.
Used to spell messages. There is a line at the bottom of the board.
All right, I'm going to start it from the beginning.
This is a video demonstrating how to use a manual communication board. Manual communication boards can be used when a person with ALS does not have access to their eye tracker. Manual communication boards are essential and should be used daily. The communication partner will hold the communication board so that the person with ALS can see it. The communication partner will call out the options on the board so that the PALs can express their message. The PALs will indicate yes as the choices are called out. The yes response should be easy for the PALs to do and easy for the communication partner to recognize. Trinity will demonstrate some examples of yes responses if a traditional head nod is not possible. Eyebrow raise, hard blink, gaze up, gaze side to side. The board has two sides. One is an alphabet side that can be used to spell messages. There is a line at the bottom of the board for the communication partner to write letters selected to keep track of what is being spelled. The other side is a category board that has categories and phrases to quickly communicate routine needs. You'll see there are blank lines where you can add your own messages, or you can contact us to create a fully custom board. We will now demonstrate how to use both sides of the board. Trinity, tell me how you're going to say yes. Okay, I see a hard blink, so that's how you'll indicate yes. Okay. Please spell your message. Where is the letter? A row? Hard blink, so it's in the A row. A, B, C, hard blink, so the first letter is C. Where's the next letter? A row, E row, I row, O row, U row, hard blank, U, hard blank again, U, C, U. What's the next letter? A row, E row, I row, O row, O, P, P, C, U, P. Is the message cup? A hard blank. Do you need a cup of water? Hard blank, yes. Okay, do you have more to tell me? Hard blank, yes. Okay, A row, A, B, C, D, space, category board, turn over, yes, hard blank. So I will turn the board over. We will select a message from the categories and phrases. Where is your message? Needs, position, hard blank for position, bed, chair, up, down, hard blank. An up, down has two, so I will ask again. Up, down, hard blank, down. Do you need to be moved down? Hard blank, yes, move down. Any other messages? No response, no. Please contact us for additional training on how to use the communication board or for a custom communication solution. Thank you.
That's an excellent demonstration of how to use a manual communication system. And that's what you want to put in place immediately when a speech generating device is not working. Step 2, and there are only 2 steps, right, is get the communication device to work again or arrange for a replacement, right? During a temporary or a mini crash, this may just mean swinging the device back in place, checking the track status, and going back to regular use. But for a full communication crash, here are 3 steps about getting a speech generating device back into action. 1. Check power and do a full reboot. Let me say this really clearly. A full reboot does not mean that the screen was black and now it's backlit again. That does not mean that your device has restarted or rebooted. All that means is that the screen went off and now it's back on. So the first thing to do is check your wires. All speech generating devices have a power supply, right? The converter or the power outlet converter is usually called the brick, the box. And on either side there's a wire. So there's a wire that goes into the wall to a live outlet, and there's a part that goes into the device. So here I've numbered them. Number 1, plug into the device, connect the end that goes into the device, and number 3, connect to a live outlet. All the bricks for the main speech generating devices have a charging light on the brick itself that you can check to see if the connection is made or if the charger is intact, not faulty. Now, why did I number these 1 and 3? There's something missing. What is the missing step 2? Can you look at this picture and see what is missing step 2? Missing step 2 is the detachable power cord going into the brick, goes into the brick at that point. All of the chargers, again, for GridPad, for iSeries, for TD Pilots, have a detachable power cord. And often those become loose and they need to be checked to make sure that they're snug and tight. Check the power and do a full reboot. Reboot, again, not just turning the screen off and back on. A full reboot for different devices are different. A Windows-based speech generating device, like a Windows 11 GridPad, you just go to the Windows icon and then to the power icon and then to restart. A Windows 10 iSeries device from Tobii looks almost identical. This is the same way you would restart any Windows computer. To do a reboot of a TD Pilot or of the iPad, would be called a hard reset. The sequence for iPad Pros is volume up, volume down, and then press and hold the power until the Apple logo appears. If you haven't done this yet, it's a good thing to do. I would also add that while you're at it, before you restart your device, is close some apps, close some windows, close the browser tabs. On a TD Pilot, get to the app switcher and swipe away apps before you do your hard reset. Step 2 of getting the speech generating device up and running again, assuming that you have a screen that is working, you can update all the software. And that software is the communication software, the eye tracking software, as well as the operating system software. So different devices, different companies have different looking update programs, starting from left to right. The communication, I wish my pointer would change, stay red. This is the Tobii update program. This is the Grid update program called the SmartBox Update. It's circled here in red. and operating system updates. So that would be Windows updates, and on a pilot, that would be an iOS update that is under Settings, General tab, Software Update. What else can you do? Unless you're sure that the device will need a hardware repair by the manufacturer, we recommend that you contact us at Bridging Voice. Contact your Bridging Voice contact person. But if you're not a Bridging Voice client, you should contact your speech generating device manufacturer. If you have more questions and you're near a Tuesday open office hours, that's a good forum to bring your question to. You can write to info@bridgingvoice.org with a question about a device that has gone down. So even if you're not a Bridging Voice client, reach out to us. Second, what you can do to prepare now, right? So you should learn the charging lights and how to do that total reboot of your particular system. So learn the wiring, the charger plugs, where they all connect, particularly that detachable power cord. What are the normal charging lights on your device? Remember that just because the screen went dark and now it's lit doesn't mean that the device has restarted. So learn to reboot your system. You can also, again, learn how to do all the updates and of your system. Sometimes an update will require a reboot in order to complete. So both are actually necessary. So learn how to do your system, how to update your system. Know your speech generating device manufacturer's tech support number, right? For obvious hardware issues, call them directly. If you don't know how to reboot your device, that's fine. If you don't know how to update your device, call the manufacturer. If they recommend some sort of factory reset, or they say, oh, you're going to have to ship that in, we recommend that this comes to our attention as well, right? So if they recommend some drastic process of either wiping the machine or sending the machine out, you will need a loaner device, number one, and two, we would like to help you avoid having to wipe or totally factory reset the device. So please contact Bridging Voice. So have your Bridging Voice contact information readily available. Go into an email from your Bridging Voice representative and jot down their phone number onto an index card. Add it to the manufacturer's phone number and tape it to the device, especially if you're not the only caregiver that's present. Bridging Voice has recently put into place a weekend emergency phone. It's listed here, 718-313-0300, option 2, and that will go to a direct care provider, one of our 13 who will be on duty on the weekend, who will respond to you within the weekend time. It's a good idea to start if you're sending a text message or an email, good thing to do is start your communication with communication emergency so that it does get the attention of anyone, either the manufacturer or the Bridging Voice rep. Also be sure that this really is a communication crash. If you're unable to change your television channels on a Friday night, even if it's the World Cup, it is not a communication emergency. So please be sure that you are reaching out about a true communication emergency. I wanted to suggest, if you can afford it, a hot tip would be a way to be prepared is to think about buying a backup charger. When you think it's a power problem and you're not sure whether it's the device or the charger, it's great to have a charger right there that you can try to get the lights to work properly. They range in price from about $60 to $100. I did check one of the devices, the TD Pilot, the chargers were sold out right now. So When you need to buy one, it may not be available. You may not be able to get it as quickly as you hope to get it. So, again, if you can afford it, and they're relatively inexpensive, and they can help avoid waiting just to diagnose the problem with having a fresh charger. So, in summary, if there's a crash, there's two steps. One, put manual communication in place immediately. And two, after that, get the speech generating device to work with a full reboot. Get ready for a communication crash by knowing how the power lights look normally on your device, and learn how to do a full reboot and how to update devices. And then know your expert's contact information. Thank you for attending this webinar. This and all our trainings are available online, and Emily will give you more details.
All right, thank you so much, Eddie. Um, Again, anyone who has questions, we will have a Q&A in just a few minutes. I'm just going to have a few more slides that we will do. Um, like Eddie said, we have trainings almost every single month. If you've been with us before, then you are well familiar with our training schedule. The next training that we will have is Tuesday, September 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be presenting on preserving connection, AAC interventions, and ALS through case studies. We are all familiar that ALS looks very different on every single person that is going through this disease. And we are going to take a few examples of specific cases and kind of walk you through that journey and what technology was useful along the way. Eddie, can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. We have open office hours following this today at 4:30 Eastern Time. During our office hours, everyone is welcome. If you have a question or if you want to just join and listen to the other questions that always bring up really good topics and discussion. We have two members of our clinical team typically joining, as well as someone from our technical team, and then our lovely Bridging Voice ambassadors. Here is the link for office hours. All right. And you can register there. Okay, finally, if you joined us for a professional development, please still stay until the end, but here is our link now. And Devorah is always super quick with getting those out. All right, Eddie, I think we have one more slide. And thank you. You can always contact us at info@bridgingvoice.org, or you can contact Eddie directly with any questions about today's training, eddy@bridgingvoice.org. All right, so we will stop sharing now. Everyone, if you have questions, you're free to come off of mute and ask your questions if you're most comfortable on Zoom, or you can always ask in the chat as well.
There was
Abby,
one
did
question.
we? Perfect.
Yeah, there was one question that I wasn't sure actually of the answer to. We have that new emergency number, and the question is, can they text the emergency number? Does it receive calls only or text as well? Oh, Karina just answered. She says, for the emergency line, you need to call. Text does not work. Or you can email emergency@bridgingvoice.org. So for anybody who needs to contact the emergency line, it needs to be a call rather than a text to the phone number, or you can use emergency@bridgingvoice.org to email. Other than that, Emily, there were some discussions from Lynn and Charlie about how they back up their communication devices, including having more than one device, using backup battery or backup, things like that to keep them running. So if anybody's interested in things related to that, there's some stuff in the chat on that.
And that's
Otherwise,
really that's a snippet of what you would experience in office hours is Lynn and Charlie sharing incredible information. So just another plug for office hours. If you do want to join after this, they are almost always present with that kind of info.
so true. I think those were the only questions came in during. So if anybody has other questions.
So let's just emphasize what Lynn and Charlie did say. A good practice is to back up your communication board. And if you don't know how to do that, just like you're not sure how to do updates, check in with your experts. Communicate the manufacturer. If you're not a Bridging Voice client, contact the speech generating device tech support. If you're connected with Bridging Voice, contact us. We'll help you do a backup of your communication boards.
All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording right before I do. I have to say the line. So thank you everyone that's joining on YouTube. If you're joining with us from YouTube, please like and subscribe. All right.